It's going to be really hard
Welcome
or really
to
easy.
the RPG Talkshow. My name is Daniel Ivey, and this is
John Welker, Vice President of RPG Research. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization that everyone here is unpaid.
Yeah.
We're true volunteers. And what we do is we research role-playing games, whether it's live-action role-playing, tabletop like Dungeons and Dragons or Call of Cthulhu.
or something in between.
Yeah, hybrids and electronic role-playing games.
Interactive fiction.
Yep. Well, interactive fiction technically isn't a role-playing game.
But we research them anyway.
Yeah, because there are things called solo adventures, books, and modules that count under actual role-playing games, and we will be discussing a little about those today.
Yeah.
In our primary topic, which is hybrid role-playing games, the mutants of gaming.
You have no idea how much I was, tempted to make a Full Metal Alchemist reference, but that's a bit too dark.
I don't want to hear about dogs and children
Both of them are wonderful.
separately.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
If you don't understand this line of speech,
Good for
you're
you.
welcome.
Good for you.
It's too soon. All right.
Oh, yes. It's always too soon. It's always too soon.
There was a comedian on the other day, and he made a joke about Abraham Lincoln.
Uh-huh.
And the audience went, "Boo!" And he's going, "What? Too soon?" But anyways,
Yes.
what we're going to do in the talk show here today is we're going to just do our just talking stuff. Then we'll be following by our main topic, which is hybrids.
Yeah.
Hybrid role-playing games, not flowers and stuff like that,
Or theories.
or theories.
Yeah. No hybrid theories here. No.
But then we're going to go into the third segment after 15-minute breaks between segments.
Yeah.
We will doing our traps and riddles.
Yep.
And I'm not sure the next one's even fair. But it's super easy.
You know what? I feel like with the way I've been going with those is the ones that feel like they should be completely unfair.
You get it right away.
I'm not the one who said it. I'm knocking on wood anyway.
All right. Then after that, we'll do an unboxing of some new materials. If you want to send us new materials, go to rpgresearch.com/donate. We also have news about the organization talking about.
Yes,
Let's
yes,
talk
we do.
about Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, or let's talk about role-playing games in general. As you can see here by the cover of this is the 50th anniversary.
Yes.
This is our local newspaper. Well,
The Inlander. One of them.
it's an insert.
Yeah.
You can get it free all over the place. And they've done another Dungeons and Dragons centered paper before, and in that paper they mentioned us.
Yes.
It was about the work we were doing at Spark Central,
Yes.
and it was about our community center and things like that we were doing. This time we're not mentioned.
Yeah.
Which is okay because we've been kind of out of the spotlight for a little while.
Like we're
as
no longer
far
with
as
Spark and the center. Well, we'll get into what's happening with the center.
Yeah.
In a little bit.
So in this one, it's got several articles about Dungeons and Dragons in the local area. The first one is Enter the Dungeon. And this is about a person who, the author needing to know what Dungeons and Dragons was so they can write this article.
Yeah.
So they went to one of our gaming places called Sage's Portal.
Okay, I haven't heard of Sage's Portal.
Sage's Portal is more of a dice store than anything else.
Okay.
But they have gaming, and they have food, and they have all kinds of nice stuff there. The next article is called Miniature Mayhem. Bear Totem's massive Dungeons & Dragons game piece collection lets players immerse themselves inside a story-driven fantasy. Now, Bear Totem is above a brewery.
Yeah.
And so you have to go through the brewery, go upstairs. They do serve alcohol up there, and they run games. Now, because the RPG Community Center will be closing down, we will be possibly moving our community stuff, our twice a month drop in an RPG to Bear Totem. We're going to just see whether or not our workload can handle that.
Yeah.
We'll explain more in a little bit. Getting dicey, customize your game play with fancy dice by 2 local artists. Bridge Troll Dice and Jelly Bell are people who make their own dice in the local Spokane, Washington area.
Okay.
Then there says start your quest. Want to try your hand at Dungeons and Dragons? These local spots can get you started.
Now, I believe you mentioned that there was a bit of some misinformation on that.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. Dungeons and Dragons tables, Shadle Park Library, Mondays and Thursdays from 3:30 to 6 p.m. Open D&D Adventures League, Merlin's, Sundays at noon. And Dungeons and Dragons public drop-in, Bear Totem, which is on Thursdays at 6 p.m. But if we get it, they'll also have a Saturdays. Newcomers play for free. Returning players pay $5. Dungeons and Dragons one-shots at Sage's Portals. Next event will be December 14th and December 28th. Dungeons and Dragons Guild at the Coeur d'Alene Public Library. Next event will be Friday, December 20th from 4 to 7. The Mana Pool. This is in Coeur d'Alene on Government Way. And they host intermittent ones. You'll have to go to Facebook to find out when the next one's for them. Gamers Haven has open play nights every Monday, along with miniature paintings from 3 to 9. Now, Uncle's Game, this is where the error is.
Yeah.
There's 2 Uncle's Games, and maybe the one on Main is doing casual D&D Thursdays from 6 to 9, because the one in Spokane Valley Mall, the one I run games, is actually Tuesdays from 5 to 7:30.
So for you tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
But right now, Uncle's is closed for gaming because they the holiday season just before Christmas, every square space is taken up with product. There's no room for players. So we'll be back there in January. And right now, we are currently at the RPG Research Community Center just for this month. And when this month is over, we will go back to Uncle's.
Okay.
Natural 20 Brewing hosts regular D&D one-shots. And they have a guy who writes their own modules.
Oh, really? Okay.
B-Side Games, Saturdays from 4 to 6 p.m. And the Comic Book Shop, this is my son also goes. He goes to my Tuesday games, and then he goes to a Wednesday game, where sometimes he actually is the Dungeon Master.
Nice. Nice.
And that's at the Northtown Mall. This says Thursdays at 4 p.m., but I know for a fact it's Wednesdays at 5:30.
So there may be misinformation everywhere.
Yeah, there may be some errors in here, and if you're a local game master,
Call to find out.
Yeah, or if you just want to play, call the different stores to find out. And if you are one of the stores, please tell the Inlander to repost the dates and times for these.
Yeah.
So people don't show up in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And the last article they have in here is a very, very short history of Dungeons and Dragons, which is also the history of role-playing games in general.
Yeah.
But by short, I do mean it's only one page. And it starts with 1000 AD. The heroic epic poem Beowulf is produced, laying the groundworks for the fantasy genre. All right.
They couldn't go back to Gilgamesh?
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's a little Western thinking.
Yeah, it's a bit Eurocentric.
Yeah. Yes, in 1954, J.R.R. Tolkien publishes who studied Beowulf, studied the sequel to The Lord of the Rings. But the first superhero I'm not going to say fiction, because, you know, that's somebody else's culture, is Gilgamesh.
I've only heard some of the stories of what happens in Gilgamesh, and it is nuts.
Oh, you know they have a graphic novel about it?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, you got to read it. It's accurate. It's word for word accurate.
Oh no! Oh no!
It's perfect.
Look, I've watched enough anime. I have enough absurd.
Oh, you owe it to yourself and the graphic novel genre to read Gilgamesh.
Honestly, I feel like I owe it to myself for generally trying to stay well-read. That I should be not fluent, but at least familiar with the actual text of Gilgamesh.
Pop quiz. I don't expect you to know the answer, especially since I don't know the answer.
Okay.
Who came first? Gilgamesh or Monkey King?
Ooh. I want to say Gilgamesh.
I think Gilgamesh wins.
I want to say Sun Wukong comes later.
Yeah, Journey to the West was written after the Epic of Gilgamesh, I believe. Please correct me if you're wrong, or not if you're wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Actually, I'm fairly certain of it because Journey to the West was was after Buddha.
Right. Well, of course it was. Buddha's a main character.
Yeah, and I feel like Gilgamesh is before Buddha.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah, there.
It's close to proto-civilization. It's not proto-civilization, but it's getting there.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's the Inlander, our local newspaper, and I wanted to point it out and how the 50th anniversary is being celebrated everywhere.
Yeah.
Including a small town like Spokane, and by small I mean the second largest in Spokane. Gilgamesh was a hero of ancient Mesopotamian mythology and protagonist of the Epic of Gilgamesh, an epic poem written in the Akkadian during the late 2nd millennium BC.
And with it being Mesopotamia is one of the first civilizations.
Well, yeah. Just, you know, we tend to ignore, as far as the Western culture is, for when they're looking at stories, they tend to, the fact that we even recognize Middle East, such as Gilgamesh, is a miracle, considering that somehow the Greeks claim be the cradle of civilization.
They weren't.
And yeah, Arcadia, Acadia, and Samaria all predate that.
Yeah.
And the East does go back a lot further than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
But whether or not they get credit for the first, I mean, the story I learned was that the Chinese invented cooking. You know how they invented cooking?
Oh.
This was post-caveman. And people had wooden or stick houses. And during the colder months, you bring the pigs inside. Somebody's house burnt down.
And they smell the bacon.
Well, you know, they're moving the pig out, and they taste it on their hands, and like,
this is delicious.
Yes, Gilgamesh is technically first. Thank you, Hearth Homes. There's a neat Lego set that came out, and I haven't got a lot of it. It's called Monkey Boy.
Yeah.
And it's basically Monkey King in Lego form.
Even then, I think it'd be too powerful. But I feel like it is important to acknowledge that because of the nonsense that happens in Gilgamesh, and how early it happens in our civilization, anime nonsense has been in our blood for a very, very long time.
Well, and for a long time, years and years, I thought Mary Shelley was the first science fiction writer.
And then you found out about the Greeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that they basically wrote Star Wars before spaceships were invented.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just amazing. Okay, let's talk a little about us. You see that there was a link up there.
Yeah. About the the Q4 board meeting for RPG research.
Yep. Yeah, that's on YouTube. You can watch all of it there. We're going to summarize it for ourselves right now.
Started off depressing.
Well, it is kind of depressing.
Yeah.
The one thing is that we have been doing this for 18 years now.
Mm-hmm.
We incorporated in 2017.
Yeah.
I met Hawk in 2015, became his first volunteer in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
We became a full 501c3 nonprofit in 2017. So we are not too far away from the 10th anniversary of when I met Hawk, and we're
a little bit further away.
We're about the 19th. It'll be also the 19th anniversary. April will be the 19th anniversary since we became a 501c3. 2026, of course. Oh no, 2027 will be it. So, yeah, 2025's 18.
Yeah.
Anyways, math is math. All you need to know is we've been doing this for a long time. We have been doing it on a what do you call those ends of the shoestrings?
You know what?
The little plastic.
There's an actual name for it.
Yeah.
I know there's a name for it. I
The
just don't know.
spangle or the something. I don't remember what it's called.
It's not even a shoestring. Less than a shoestring.
Right. So we couldn't afford the entire shoestring. That's how low our budget was. We literally worked off of sweat and tears and our own materials. There were some things that were donated, but we were pretty self-sufficient for a while. And we were getting donations. We were getting sufficient donations. Aglet. Thank you. I knew there was a word for that.
This is one of the reasons why we love Hearth being here, supporting us, because he'll find information for us that we don't have time to find it.
Or I don't have the brain cells left to remember it. So on an aglet budget, we were running things, and we thought, you know what? We're not getting grants because we don't have a physical building for the public to come in and do things.
I was there for that. I mean, mind you, the volunteer number that I'm at is still less than 10.
I think you're at 8.
I think I'm either 8 or 7, 8 or 9, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But I know that we were trying to do some grant writings, and we kept on getting rejected because we didn't have physical space. Well,
I mean, we had space, but the founder's basement doesn't count, and neither did the rented office space that we used when we had to do public things. Plus, we have the 2 trailers, a bus, and we did a lot of on-the-road stuff.
Yeah.
And we went to libraries and schools and everywhere did things, but we didn't have our own community center. And that lack of our own community center meant that we weren't able to get grants. So we got a community center. We got a space for a library because we have materials for museum. We have the Caldwell collection of research that went back to 1980s.
Yeah, believe it or not, the stuff that you see behind us, that isn't even a fraction of what we have.
Oh gosh, that is such a, what you can see behind us is such a tiny, tiny piece of what our collection is.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. In a good way. But, so we got these facilities in order to help us raise money. It did just the opposite.
Yeah.
It became a money pit.
It became an albatross around our necks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things was that the criteria that everybody wanted for grants and not loans, because we're not doing loans, going to debt, but for grants and donations was they moved away from having a physical space to do community work to DEI.
They wanted to, not even that they wanted DEI, they wanted just an audit every single time of who's there.
Right. They wanted to know, they wanted proof that you were covering the right crowd. the at-risk youth. We do the at-risk youth.
Yeah.
That we were servicing people of multi-ethnicities, multi-racial, cultural,
Yeah.
multi-gender preference. It didn't matter. They wanted detail proof. And we really don't feel comfortable, other than outside of a research project, which we've already done one like this.
Yeah.
But outside of a research project, asking everybody every single time to come in, what are your pronouns? What are your demographics? Please check everything off so that we can prove that we are serving the right type of people.
And I want to say that, okay, I am a minority.
Right.
And I've seen enough organizations where, they, and honestly, I feel like sometimes this is where we kind of get into a bit of a trouble where, I've been with you guys for a while.
Yes.
Okay, if I felt like RPG Research was the type of organization that, they don't want to do, think diversely or be inclusive, but they don't want to say that they're bigoted, I wouldn't be around here. I've seen trans volunteers. I've seen volunteers with a slew of different sexual preferences, as if it really doesn't matter. We help everyone. I've never felt like, oh, you guys have me here because I'm a minority. I'm here and I just happen to be a minority.
You're here because you showed up.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
I'm here because you showed up.
I'm here because you guys can't get rid of me.
Yeah, I'm not here to be the crippled Cuban, pale-skinned Cuban.
You're Cuban?
Yeah. On my grandmother's side.
Yeah.
Which is on my father's side.
Yeah. So for me, I feel like there's a difference between, trying to fill those boxes of like, oh, we are inclusive, here's our proof. Honestly, that kind of feels like, no, I'm not racist. Here's my so-and-so friend.
Right.
No, that's kind of one of those lines of like, no, your friend should be coming up to what's the word? Vouch for you. You shouldn't be vouching for, I have a, for example, black friend.
Right.
Yeah. Don't put them on parade.
If you have to tell people that you're a good Christian, you're probably not.
Your actions should speak louder than your words.
And if you have to tell people that you're a good pagan, you're probably not.
Right.
The point is that while we're open to everybody, and we want to teach everybody and help everybody, we don't find that should be the basis of our programming. I shouldn't be going out there when I'm trying to get people to sign up to do a show with us. Excuse me, what are your demographics?
Her is like, I don't tell a single person that I'm God. They tell me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I tend to ignore that kind of stuff about people.
Honestly, I find it a bit intrusive.
Right. As far as people's sexual preferences or what their actual gender identity is, it's irrelevant to me. No offense to all of you who want to be out about who you are and what you are. Please be out. I will support you.
As long as you're not hurting anyone, we don't really care.
Yeah. But I don't need to know any of that information because you're not having sex with me.
Right.
And only people that I have sex with do I care of what their genitalia is or whether they prefer men or women. Now, obviously, if I'm planning on having sex with somebody and they are not into males, then we have a problem.
And that's not saying that, to say that, we avoid that type of stuff. The last, Pride Parade that we had, that was here in Spokane, we had one of our, RPG Research wasn't there officially, but we had one of our volunteers showing up for their work, and I showed up.
I would have showed up, but I was working. And I would definitely have worn my rainbow bow tie. I might have wore the fez.
I don't, only because I'm not a part of the LGBT community. I try to be an ally. I'm not going to claim that I am. That goes into, you know, I want my proof to speak for me. So I'm not going to call attention to myself. It's their parade, not mine.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I have enough family, friends, acquaintances that I'm just proud to be in the parade and having fun with everybody.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. The only problem I have when I go to events like that is trying not to go to the opposition and chew them out. But yeah, like, hey, let's have an education session since you're here.
I was very much half tempted to walk over to the Westboro Baptist Church, which showed up, and have a nice conversation with them, because that's actually the second time I've encountered them. The first time I encountered them, I was at a.
What are they doing this far north, anyways?
Well, what were they doing in Orlando? What they were doing in Orlando was protesting the funeral of the Pulse nightclub shooting. So we were at a counter-protest, which was a lot larger than theirs. So I was already familiar with them.
Yeah. I don't want to get into that kind of stuff. I do want to say is that the community center did not work because we couldn't. The new DEI requirements required us to be a little too invasive, as far as we felt, into the personal lives of the people walking through our door.
Yeah.
What we wanted to count is how many people came in and played.
Yeah.
Not how many males, females, and others, and how many black, white, yellows, purples, greens, and whatevers. It's a good thing we don't have anybody in here named Kirk. Those purples and greens would be in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the most famous green person to be seduced was not seduced by Kirk.
Oh.
It was by Pike.
Pike?
The first captain of the Enterprise.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So Kirk explained for everyone.
Yeah, so not only, you know, did the center not pan out for us, and we ended up having to take on an insurance policy that was absolutely absurd, because the insurance policy heard that we were doing role-playing games and treated us like we're doing a full combat LARP.
Well, they treated more like rugby played with knives.
Yeah.
Combat LARP would have been easier.
Yeah.
Because there are people that just do, but they couldn't categorize us, so they have to go look for the most risky category to put us in. And they had all these requirements just to insure us, so we lost everybody who was outside of Washington State.
Yeah.
And we had people in every single continent except Antarctica.
And the space station.
It's not a continent.
You know it counts. You know it counts. If we had gotten the space station, we would be talking about it.
Of course we would.
Yeah.
We would be doing broadcasts from the space station. Trust me.
It'd be choppy as heck, but we'd do it.
Welcome. My name is John. Okay. So it didn't make. We did not get the things, and every year the cost of this place goes up.
Oh, yeah.
The rent it just gets more and more, and we had money that we need to put into refurbishing this place. We have to pay for the electricity. You know, this thing's cost. This broadcast is costing more than your Christmas tree and your decorations outside your house right now. Just is costing a lot of money. So we are going to not close down RPG research, though that was a possibility in the vote.
It was pretty unanimous. All the options of us completely going away. None of the people who were at that board meeting said, was interested in that.
Yeah, we did not want RPG research, any parts of it to close down. So we are,
I think what we ultimately landed on was RPG research is going to be going into a bit of a hibernation.
yeah, it's a hibernation.
Yeah. Speaking of hybrid,
Yeah.
but basically the idea is we needed to restructure, and not just restructure, but we need to refocus and figure out, okay, what is actually sustainable that we're doing? And the only things that are going to be continuing are the things that RPG research has been doing that has been sort of self-sustaining.
Right.
So we have a BCI, which we don't talk enough about.
Yeah, brain-computer interface. Here, I'm going to grab some. You tell them what it is,
So-
and then I'll show something.
For the longest time, RPG research has been doing something with BCI, which is brain-computer interface, where we have been, and I'm not a part of it. I kind of wish I was, but there's only so many hours in a day. But we were developing a game that could be run from BCI, from a brain-computer interface. And the idea of that is, if someone has a stroke or is only mentally active, well, this allows them to engage, and we've actually found that even if someone is non-responsive, even just talking with them is beneficial for them.
Right, okay. So there's a thing called locked-in syndrome.
Yes.
It is the worst form of paralysis possible. You can't even use blink codes.
Right.
You are literally trapped in your body with no way to communicate. And you can be the most intelligent person in the world. If you can't communicate, I remember when I first met autistic students when I was in high school that were proven to have some genius level IQs hiding in their complete inability to communicate.
Yeah.
And that was the most terrifying thing I had heard at the time. So lock-in syndrome is worse than that as far as the ability to communicate. So we can take a device like this, stick them on their head. They're working on implants. And our BCI group has been running independently of the main group of RPG research. It's still under RPG research.
Yeah.
They're still following all our rules, you know. But
They started off with Neverwinter Nights, and as a module, and they basically created the Tempest.
yeah,
It's a role-playing game, effectively.
Shakespeare's The Tempest.
Yeah.
As a role-playing game that this is what you use to control it. It works strictly off brainwaves.
Yeah.
And a person that is in locked-in syndrome who has nothing but to think about things and hear their environment could actually work computers,
Yeah.
play games, have a life. One guy I remember, he's like does stock trades or something like that, and it's all through computer interface. And he personally cannot talk except through the computer. Not even using blink code or any of those other things. So that program will continue.
Yes. That has been self-sustaining.
Our talk show will continue.
You're not getting rid of us just yet.
Now we're going to lose the community center.
Yeah.
And then when we lose the community center, we lose
This site.
we lose our studio. So we will be moving to the Spokane Public Library, the main office, and we'll still be broadcasting on Mondays. The times will have to change. We may be, instead of starting at 6, end at 7.
Okay.
Because that's when the library closes. And for some darn reason, they don't want to leave people locked in overnight.
You don't trust me with knowledge? I swear.
Not you.
No, not me. The things I can do with knowledge. With information. The FBI knows my search history.
The artists and writers' search histories are the most hilarious things.
Yeah.
You know, when you get an FBI agent knocking on your door and asking you, so why do you need to know the melting temperature of teeth?
Well, okay, so if
You don't answer that. There's a lawyer probably on the other end of this. All right.
Yeah.
The whole
Based off of the plot that I'm working on.
exactly. I mean, people want to do really, and there have been people who have gotten into trouble in role-playing game world. Steve Jackson Games was doing a role-playing game, and they FBI came and stole everything and did not give back the game. They gave back the computers wiped.
Oh, jeez, that hurts.
Which is why there is a internet, or not internet, a computer program or something. There's a legal group to help, defense fund.
Yeah,
help people
I've seen that one before. There's a couple of defense funds that I would support if I had more money.
Right. So this will continue. The
Yes.
talk show, it could be coming out at an earlier time, coming out of...
Yeah, the EFF.
Right. Can you translate the EEF?
I think it's electronic something fund.
Something.
Yeah.
So we'll get a translation soon. I'm sure Hearth will get the entire one up there. All right. So things that are going to be self-sustaining.
Lord Kanesh mentions that his brother's PC got stolen by Spokane PD. Electronic Frontier Fighters.
I swear that last one was fun, but that's right. It can happen. This was an FBI raid based on the fact that their spy game touched on too much realism. They thought they were, or that they were planning some nefarious plot using a game, which is why, prisons sometimes have problems with role-playing games.
We're both wrong. Yeah, in terms of the Electronic Frontier Foundation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what else are we going to continue doing?
I know that I've been working on training for people who are already volunteers, just to,
Keep their brains fresh.
yeah. So I'm going to be continuing doing that.
Right, we're not going to start new trainees for a while.
Yeah.
I apologize to anybody who's been waiting in the background for those to start up again. After
We're part of all of this is trying to get us to a point where we can actually start doing that again.
Yeah. So we told last Thursday, we informed the landlord that we are going to not renew the lease.
Yeah.
And so we now have a few months, January, February, March. We have to be out here by the end of March.
Might as well call it February.
And we are going to be moving out of here basically January 1st, if not sooner. And it's going to be a lot of work. If you're a local volunteer that want to help us pack things up, and
We would appreciate it.
or if you want to donate plastic boxes, not cardboard boxes, but plastic boxes to store things in so that they can be better protected. Just because we have nice sheds to put them in there doesn't mean that they're going to be 100% weatherproof or mouse proof. And we need to make them a bit safe. There are irreplaceable things. For example, I have an original copy of the first Dungeons & Dragons game. We have old board games, we have books, and we have irreplaceable documents from the Caldwell estate.
Yeah.
So there's a lot there going on there. We will continue to keep things going. And we're going to be working very hard on developing a new plan how to work from our new standpoint.
Yeah.
We do not expect to be moving into a new community center or setting up a museum.
Anytime soon.
No, not unless a miracle donor comes, an angel donor.
Honestly, if an angel showed up, I wouldn't trust it.
Well, I know we
Easy
got
come,
burned.
easy go.
Yeah, we got burned. Well, I wouldn't say we got burned. I'm very grateful for Drop In TV for their very large donation that kept us going for quite a while.
Yeah.
It did not end up into a continuing thing, and mainly because some people were complaining that we weren't doing paying for transgender confirmation surgeries.
Honestly, what I feel it is because we were lesser known and people were more familiar with a more established trans right group that gets a lot more funding.
Well, I don't think they were specifically even talking Trevor Project. They were talking, they wanted something that would help pay for transgender confirmations and stuff like that. It's like, we are supporting transgender.
Yeah.
We just don't fly a flag because we're not turning anybody away.
Yeah. We actively try to help everyone.
So, I can't remember. You'll have to watch the thing on YouTube.
Yeah.
But we are not going away. We are just dampening down. The talk show will continue. The BCI will continue.
Yeah.
And we will continue trying to come up with ways that we can continue our programming and research into other topics. Here's the other thing that will continue. Our database will continue. That our online database at rpgresearch.com will not go away.
Yeah. In fact, honestly, this is something that I believe anyone who's been in the RPG research has kind of been seeing coming. It's one of the reasons why this is not the first iteration of the RPG Talk Show. First iteration didn't include me.
No, you weren't anybody to be included. You didn't exist as far as we knew.
Right. And one of the reasons why I wanted this to and helping with this is because I feel like this talk show is a wonderful way to get to get traction for us more than anything else.
Despite the fact that we are the worst marketing department on the planet,
we need to have something to market, though.
The people, locals, are like, I've been talking about this for years. You've been talking about what? RPG who?
They don't know we're here.
Yeah. So that's about it for that part. We will be coming back around in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We've got 3 minutes left on the clock.
I know this just chatting has been a bit of a downer, but I feel like it was important to get that out in the open because we're not going to hide it. We're not. It's one of the reasons why you constantly hear us about we do need support.
Yeah, we are gold standard, especially for transparency.
Yeah.
We're all the warts and all. The things that are coming up in the near basis is we're going to be doing more talk. What is our next topic?
I know that this our main topic today is hybrid RPGs, and one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and I don't know if we can do that next week, is not necessarily talk about hybrid RPGs, but hybridization of your games, of taking concepts that are outside of the TRPG scene or the LRPG scene and bringing in additional concepts to, for example, bringing in props and whatnot.
Well, see, that's when okay. But so that's when a tabletop becomes an LRPG. I think one of the best conversations is not the different ways, but how to blend genres.
Yeah.
Effectively.
We'll have to discuss what the next talk show is going to be, but we're coming up to the end of the year. We need to do some more planning.
Yeah. Let's see. So after our 15-minute break, we will come back and we'll talk about hybrids, and we will show off some examples of hybrids. Some of them will be more closely related to a real role-playing game than others. And after we talk about that for our main topic, we'll come back and do our traps and riddles and our unboxing.
Yep.
So I'd like to see you in 15 minutes, and tell all your friends that you're watching this so they can watch too.
See you in 15. Welcome back to the RPG Talk Show. My name is Daniel Ivey, and this is
John Welker, Vice President of RPG Research, researching the effects of all role-playing games in all formats for their benefits and uses in education, therapeutics,
leisure,
and entertainment.
Yes.
Now, just as a side note coming off there, we're talking about education. My son is autistic. And he is at the age of 30 learning to read. The program that he's in right now, is Spokane Community College, is going away.
Sorry.
It's got 2 semesters left, or 2 quarters left. It's got the spring and
Summer?
No, winter and spring.
Winter and spring? Okay.
Winter and spring quarters left, and then it's done. But the reason I'm bringing that up has not to do with saying, oh, I've got, an issue that is going on. I'm talking about now how Dungeons and Dragons can be used to teach literacy.
Yes, I think I have some I have some experience with that, but it's also a common trope in a lot of the RPG community, where the only reason why I know words like ambidextrous and constitution and many other terms
and trebuchet
is because of Dungeons and Dragons.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
some great SAT words.
There are lesson plans already published for using role-playing games. Using the concepts of role-playing games. And I've written I wrote literacy plans. Reading
is fundamental.
I'm educated.
Yes.
And I teach people stuff.
So for a client that both of us were working with, you presented a lesson plan that utilized role-playing games.
Yes, and so with my son coming out of this thing, I will probably pulling out my lessons plans and help him continue with his literacy.
Okay.
Using my Dungeons and Dragons programs for that. And hopefully other programs will come in. I find that it's not the same for everybody, but homeschooling works best if the dynamics of the home are correct.
Yeah, I've found that when it comes to homeschool, it is. I feel like you're in one of two camps. You have a specialized case where you know your child better and can provide better for your child, or we're dealing with some very unethical stuff and there's a certain level of negligence that's happening.
Yeah, and it's not, I'm definitely do not want to go that far in saying for homeschooling, because some of the problems with homeschooling is whether or not the parents have the ability to teach.
Yeah.
Sometimes the problem with homeschooling is that the parents want to teach things that are contrary to the scientific basis, or things like that where you should learn in a regular school.
Or at least the school provides context.
Right. But there have been multiples of people who successfully were homeschooled by brilliant parents who went on to be top of the classes in colleges. And there are even homeschool programs that have group get-togethers.
It's one of the issues I've seen with a number of homeschool programs, where one of the things that is missed out on is the socialization aspect.
Right. And doing it through Dungeons & Dragons does include that socialization. I'm not saying I can do better than your homeschool. I'm just saying that I don't feel that treating one of my children as a client is kind of awkward.
Yeah, there That is a treating a family member as a client is a weird dynamic that not everyone can get past.
Yeah. I'm already his caregiver, individual provider, but I can do this, and I will do this if it comes to that. I'm just saying it's preferable the kind of program he's already in because he's loving it, he's learning it, and he's working so hard at it. I don't want that to slip.
Well, disruption in something that is working can be very, very damaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's get off my personal topics and let's talk about hybrid role-playing. So, the types of role-playing games are tabletop role-playing games. 1T, thank you very much.
LRPGs, which is live.
Or
LARP is a subset of that.
Yep. Then we have electronic role-playing games, audio and computer role-playing games, console role-playing games, the master PC, et cetera, et cetera. Then we have hybrids. Hybrids are the ones that combine elements of others. Now, on the far edge, off the scale of RPGs, are interactive fiction, such as Choose Your Own Adventure.
Choose call.
Trademarked.
Yes.
Do not use the phrase Choose Your Own Adventure if you're not referring to a Choose Co product.
Correct.
They sue.
They're very litigious.
Right. So, a interactive fiction is not a role-playing game, but there is a thing called solo adventure books and solo adventure modules. SABMs,
SAMs. Solo adventure modules. SABs and SAMs.
Yep, or SABMs is the total combined thing. So let's take a look at a SAB.
SAB.
Solo adventure book. Now, what makes this different from your standard tabletop role-playing game and your interactive fiction is while it's set up like an interactive fiction, you are actually playing a character with a character sheet.
Yes.
You're rolling dice. In this case, I believe we just have to flip the pages, and there are dice numbers on it.
And by the way, this book's name is The Warlock of a Firetop Mountain by Fighting Fantasy.
Now, the first link up there, the Steam one, is for a computer version of that game.
Yeah.
And the second link is to fightingfantasy.com, where you can get all kinds of these books. I have others. I have some by Steve Jackson Games that are quite fun. There are the Lord of the Rings and Middle Earth books. And that's also where the reason there's a distinction between book and module is that
printing formatting.
It is the printing formatting.
Yeah, it's the printing formatting.
And the Middle Earth role-playing game, the token, got sued because they put it in book format as opposed to magazine format.
Yeah, those are the modules.
Like this. If it looked like a magazine, then it would have been okay. It wouldn't have been a book.
Yeah. So I want to point out one of the significant, because you mentioned that there is a character sheet in here. Now, in many interactive fictions, when you get to a choice, you decide. And that is still the option here, but whether or not you succeed at some of the choices is determined by your character sheet.
And dice rolls and, your equipment. And so you gain equipment on here, you gain money, and you reach goals. So it'll say, do you attack the goblins? Go to A. If you try to sneak away, no, not A. Go to page 12. If you try to sneak away, go to page 42.
Yeah.
If you try to talk to the goblins, go here. And then you may have to roll your charisma or something like that. Or you may have to roll for your combat and see who wins the fight.
Yeah.
It's not in a standard interactive fiction. You choose to attack the goblins. It'll tell you whether you won or lost, just based on what they predetermined was the outcome of you choosing that.
Yeah. With this, Just because you attack doesn't necessarily mean you are going to succeed or fail. It's going to determine based off of randomness and your skills.
Yeah, and when you get to the page where it says you attack the goblins, the next thing it says, if you win, go to this page. If you lose, go to that page.
Yeah, there's a combat mechanic in the book.
So very close to that, we have a choose your own adventure cooperative board game.
This is the House of
cooperative
Danger.
adventure game is what they call it. It is based on the House of Danger interactive fiction book, which I might even have right here behind me. So World, this is Abominable Snowman. That's the first one. Return Secret Ninja, Terror of the Titans. Here's the Steve Jackson game ones. Show those off.
These are more SABs.
Yes, those are solo adventure books.
We have
Same thing. You have characters.
Steve Jackson's Sorcery, the Shamutai Hills. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Car City Port of Traps, and the Seven Serpents.
Yeah, there's a fourth book, and it's just a spell book. Now, the spells are in the back, but there is one that is specifically a spell book. The difference between that one and most of the other ones is that you actually have to memorize your spells. Because if it'll go there, do you cast, and then it'll give a 3-letter code. And you're not supposed to look up the spell. You're supposed to, from your memory, say, I cast Zap, or I cast Loft, or Loth, L-O-F. And if you forgot which these codes mean...
Yes, SAB is Solo Adventure Book, SAM is Solo Adventure Module, SABM is Solo Adventure
Books and
Modules. Yeah.
So it's a category, SABM, and then we have books and modules, and the difference is whether or not the module looks like this.
Or the book has a book binding.
Yep. And it's a legally significant distinction. It's not that much of a distinction when it comes to
the content.
The content, yeah.
Yeah.
So this here is a board game.
Yeah.
Can you open that up for me?
Sure, absolutely.
It is based on the original book, and the book is a straight up interactive fiction.
So here's the board, and it's got an important picture that you're supposed to memorize.
When you first play the game, you look at that, then you flip that over, and you never get a look at it again.
Yeah.
Then your character gains power, psychic abilities, and gear, and health, and all these other things. You have a dynamic character that you're playing with now.
That is affected by this and many of the other things that you come across.
Right. Now, this is a solo game.
Yeah.
But you can play it as a group. We have very successfully played group play.
Basically, what happens is you go round robin, and the next person in line makes a decision.
Right. I've even played it where I was the game master. I read the information to you, did all the voices, and
it comes with dice. Comes with character chits for going around the board.
And the dice are necessary to resolve conflict and things like that. So it's got the randomization agent. It's got a lot of the elements, but it is a card/board game. It is it's not a solo adventure book or module, but it does get over that. Well, the fact that it's definitely not a book or module. It's a board game.
It's a board game.
It's a hybrid.
So yeah, this is one of the reasons why we have this distinction of hybrids, because some things this is a RPG. It is.
Yeah.
It's just not the format that you'd expect.
And there are elements that are different. It's a little more railroaded than
absolutely, yeah.
Because you can't exactly leave the House of Danger when playing this module.
Correct.
But it's a lot of fun. Now, seriously, the better one is the one that came after. There's only two. and the other one is a space opera one, whose name I can't remember at the top of my head for some reason, that I knew when I started this conversation. But anyways, that one is actually a better hybrid because you have multiple characters.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. So you can... each person play a different character. You gain levels and you gain equipment and all that stuff. So it can be run completely solo, but it also could be run multiplayer, and it's designed to be played multiplayer as opposed to that one that is adaptable to multiplayer.
And that one is done by ChooseCo as well. Choose Your Own Adventure.
Yeah, it's the exact same company. So
what do you want to go to next?
Munchkin.
Yes.
Now, Munchkin is really sitting that fine line over a hybrid.
Yes.
It is a board/card game. In fact, it's more of a card game than a board game.
Yeah.
Because you don't need the board.
No, you don't.
The board I like because of the art and the fact that it's easier to track and see where everybody else is.
Right.
People have done everything from just a wheel with the numbers 1 to 10 to using big giant 10-sided dice to show where your level is. And you have to really pay attention to the other person around the table and say, hey, bring your 10-sider out here where we can all see it.
Yeah. So this is a very backstabby game. I would say that this is more backstabby than when I play Vampire the Masquerade.
Is it more backstabby than Paranoia?
You've seen me play.
Yeah, nothing's more backstabby than Paranoia.
You've seen me play.
That was the first game I seen where a person got killed before the game started.
I want to say the last time I played, the last action that I did was I pulled the pins on all the grenades that I had while I was in a crowded car.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Went out with a bang.
So Cthulhu, Munchkin is a whole group of games, and they have different styles. The latest one that they've came out with is Munchkin Shadowrun. I have the Munchkin Dungeons & Dragons. I have the Munchkin Pathfinder. Munchkin in its base form is kind of Dungeons & Dragons, but there's actually a Dungeons & Dragons and a Pathfinder and a Starfinder and a Warhammer and a Scooby-Doo and Crazy Cooks and Batman.
And vampires.
And Halloween and...
all sorts. Now, I want to point out, because, we can gush about how much we love Munchkin, because it is a fun game, but the reason why I kind of included this as an RPG is because, well, you do have your own characters, and they do evolve.
Right.
And in terms of playing the characters, well, everyone's kind of playing their character.
Yeah, and you go up levels.
Yeah, and you go up levels.
Yeah, to win the game, you have to be the first person to get to 10th level.
Yeah.
And that's character level, not... level in the dungeon, though it is represented that way. I have Munchkin Shakespeare, and there are 2 boards available. One is theater and the round, so you have a round board to work on, while the standard board goes up a scroll.
Nice.
Or is it down the scroll? Because you read it from top to bottom. It is down the scroll.
Down the scroll. Okay.
Everything else usually goes from bottom to top, but the Munchkin Shakespeare goes from top to bottom because that's how you read.
Okay. So, that's Munchkin.
Yep.
Love Munchkin.
All right. Let's go to Talisman next. Now...
Ooh, this one's hefty.
It is. And, by the way, there's all kinds of different ones out there. We don't want to go through this too fast, but this is a game where, again, you have characters. The characters gain levels, the characters gain equipment, and you are playing modules, so to speak. So there's different little stories to go through here, and you do choose things out of a bag to get you more equipment and stuff like that. This has been around for a long time. There are very many versions of it. It is by Pegasus Games.
Yeah.
Or Pegasus Spiel. Because it's a German game.
Hasbro is currently selling it. I don't know if Hasbro currently owns it. We're not trying to shill for Hasbro.
It was originally a Games Workshop game.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. And It is fun, and there are expansions, and you can get new characters. I believe I have the Druid expansion in there.
So, Herth will like this character. You've got a vampire.
Yep, and that's your character sheet.
Yeah.
And they have pawns to represent what your characters look like. Mm-hmm. And cards and little things to achieve. And it is a fun. Sometimes you don't need or have all the people you need for your full regular role-playing game. So these hybrids are great.
Herth feels like he's getting called out. He's like, I know who I am. Yeah, we know you. Herth?
You don't call yourself goth. We do.
Herth, you have a problem with vampires. You are a bit obsessed.
Is this an intervention?
Yes, this is an intervention. And we all know that vampires suck. Sorry.
Except those that glitter.
Those are not vampires.
But they don't suck.
Oh, they do suck, but in a different way. I will defend the sanctity of vampires. Twilight is not a vampire.
Oh, it's
Oh yeah.
all those things that they do, like they Harley Quinn and Joker, still a better love story than Twilight.
See, I love Harley Quinn. I love Joker as a character. That was a toxic relationship.
I think it was necessary for that toxic relationship to exist story-wise.
Yes.
Because there was growth and development and stuff, and I can't see the Joker in anything but a toxic relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Joker is a toxic person.
Speaking of the Joker, there was, back in the 80s, a DC Heroes role-playing game.
Yeah.
They're now re-releasing it, and it's going to be hundreds of dollars because it's a re-release of everything that was ever published.
Oh, jeez.
And you can buy, like, for $60, you can buy one group of stuff.
So it's a DC role-playing game?
Yeah, DC Heroes.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find it here. DC Heroes RPG. Enter. Yeah, DC Heroes RPG. They have first, second, and third edition. And there is its what do you call it? A Kickstarter right now.
If that comes around, I'm playing the Spectre.
Oh, there's so much to play. I have. Yeah, it's the 40th anniversary DC Heroes role-playing game. I'm not sure it is exactly because that would mean it came out the same year that things. But December 18th is the last day out of its $80,000 goal.
9 more days.
It's only out of its $80,000 goal. It's only made $357,598. It has all 3 editions plus some accessories and stuff like giant 10-sided dice that are coming out with the logos, the DC, the Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. So the Hero Core box is $60. The superhero box plus choose one of the bundles of modules and stuff is going to be $135. Choose 3 bundles, $280. Collectors, all boxes and bundles, $630. Are you listening, donors? Legend, all boxes, bundles, and accessories. That's $695.
Ouch.
For everything you...
Might as well just call it 700.
So it seems to me to be just a reprinting. I don't know if they're going to update anything or if they're going to go through there. I'd have to do a little bit more reading. I don't even have the box set, I don't believe, at home, but they've got 2 boxes. Bundle 1 is the first edition source books.
Mm-hmm.
Bundle 2 is the first edition modules. And bundle 3 is the late first edition modules with a Kickstarter exclusive slipcase to hold them all in.
Mm-hmm.
Bundle 4 is the second edition major source books. Bundle 5 is more second edition source books, which gets into the DC War, like Sergeant Rock.
Ah, okay.
DC Legion of superheroes. Magic.
So, like Santana?
Yeah, and Spectre. You said you wanted to play Spectre. That's the source book you need.
Yeah.
The Atlas. And let's see. Bundle number 6 are the second edition modules. Bundle 7, Who's Who in DC. This is a role-playing supplement that has stats for all the characters. From it's 3 books. With 200 to 248 pages. The second one's only 202. Then the bundle 8 was the 3rd edition and the Batman role-playing game, which had the technical manual. It's the same rules as the rest of the superheroes, but it is the Batman specific.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're talking about oversized dice, premium GM screens, bookmarks, all these kind of wonderful things. And I'm not jealous.
See, I love comic books. I don't love it $700 for a role-playing game, though.
Well, technically, you're not paying $700 for a role-playing game. You're paying $700 for
everything
that was ever published for that role-playing game.
Yeah.
And here's the weird stuff. You think you're getting everything, but the stretch goals brings out more stuff.
Wow.
Let me see if I can see stretch goals. So the stretch goals have already unlocked the Watchmen source book, the Bundle 3 slipcase, the DC technical manual, the DC Heroes Don't Ask, which is the silly things like the bug.
So, I'm guessing that's where you'd find Batmite?
I think you might find Batmite in the Don't Ask part.
Yeah.
Bundle 4 slipcase, City of Fear that we put into Bundle 3. Another slipcase. Batman role-playing game was one of the ones that got unlocked. In Hot Pursuit, which is chase rules. The Apocalypse source book. Another slipcase. So slipcases were part of the stretch goals. So you get all these modules, but now you get a slipcase to put them all in.
Oh, okay.
That was part of the stretch goals. But the fact that there were actual, like the DC Heroes 3rd edition rule book was part of the stretch goals. The Belle Reeve source book. And where's Belle Reeve?
I'm not sure.
I think Belle Reeve is, it's the Flash.
Is it? That doesn't sound.
Isn't that where Amanda Waller works
that's
out
Amanda
of?
Waller stuff. I just don't know where. I know Belle Reeve is connected to Amanda Waller. I don't know where Amanda Waller puts her stuff because it's Amanda Waller.
Right.
That's
You're
like
not supposed to know.
That's like asking Nick Fury, where is he hiding his stuff? Nick Fury hides his stuff everywhere.
not to mention a flying ship.
Yeah.
Okay, so we also have the last thing on there that was unlocked was Project Prometheus.
Mm-hmm.
The things that haven't gotten out yet is Who Watches the Watchmen for Bundle 3, The Law of Darkness, and those are the last two things that have not been put out.
And this is just my personal opinion. When it comes to the Watchmen, they need to leave that well alone. I want them
You don't want it to be part of a role-playing game?
No, I don't.
No, that's a shame. Because it's already there.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of in Alan Moore's camp of the story's already been told. Don't rehash it.
Well, it's not even a matter of rehashing it.
Mm-hmm.
There are other heroes. It's like when you play Star Wars, you don't play Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
You play Stormtrooper number 372.4.
Yeah. But Star Wars has already established itself as an expanded universe. I don't want Watchmen to be an expanded universe.
For $1,200, you can get pretty much everything, but at the retail price.
Full K for everything. Mm-hmm. Full K for everything.
Yeah, but that's as a retailer.
Yeah.
Because you get 3 of everything.
Okay.
I mean, it's not just getting, 1 of everything for that amount. Sorry for the tangent. That's, we mentioned comic books and role-playing. Speaking of comic books and role-playing, this is Arkham Horror. Mm-hmm. And in the back of Arkham Horror are stats and information for the RPG. So it's a comic book.
With RPG,
RPG stats in the back for a particular game. Arkham Horror is not a KOCM product. It is its own group. Mm-hmm. And they have 3 products that are... You got the Arkham Horror card game. You have the Arkham Horror dice... Arkham Horror card game. Arkham Horror... tabletop game, board game. Mm-hmm. And then you have the Arkham Horror RPG, and there's a new thing coming out, which is called Arkham Horror, The Darkness of Arkham Horror Investigators Game Books, which are basically, now I don't know if these are solo adventure books and modules or just an IF, but there's an example here in the back, which I have not yet read. Mm-hmm. Great news. There's other sources for your... Arkham Horror is multiple hybrids in one actual role-playing game.
Yeah. So,
let's go over here.
Last but not least, this is the Pathfinder adventure card game. I have attempted to play the Skulls and Shackles version of it, and to be quite frank, I was overwhelmed.
Oh, okay. Well, I have only played this version. Mm-hmm. Skulls and Shackles would have been one that I would have been interested in.
Yeah.
Also, I would have been interested in the original Pathfinder, the Seven Sins. So this game is you are playing Pathfinder characters.
Yeah.
On simplified character sheets. You gain spells and equipment through cards, and it is a card game that simulates the role-playing game. Mm-hmm. So the whole point of it is that while you can play this through all the regular RPG Pathfinders modules that were out there, you get to... This gives you an ability to play it solo. Mm-hmm. You don't. It's. Hey, there's 3 of us. Let's play Pathfinder. I don't want to be the dungeon master. Well, I don't want to be the dungeon master. It's called Game Master, and I'm not it.
Yeah.
Then you can play this hybrid version where the cards themselves become the game master.
And the randomization agent as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no dice involved in this particular version. It's just how you play the cards, I believe. It's been a while.
Yeah. And you can see why, for me, I was overwhelmed because, like, okay, I was expecting a board game that I set up and I play, and maybe in a couple of hours we're done and we all had fun. But after an hour or so of just trying to understand it, I realized there was multiple different modes, and one mode of playing the game was they expected it to run over the course of a month.
Well, it is a campaign.
Yeah.
And it is meant to be run in multiple sessions, just like your standard Dungeons, Dragons, or Pathfinder game. You're supposed to be able to leave it where you left off and come back and play again.
Yeah.
You are not supposed to, you can do scenes or, encounters without having too much trouble in a single session, but you want to tell the entire story, whether it's the Curse of the Crimson Throne, the Shackles, the Wages of Sin, or any of these other ones that were out there, then you are going to have to... Do I hear dice?
Yep, there's dice in here.
Oh yeah, there is dice, so you are going to be rolling dice. It's a role-playing game.
Yeah.
But it's a hybrid because it doesn't utilize a dungeon master. It is in a completely different format than you would normally have.
It relies on cards. Yeah.
I'm not sure if D&D tried to do this themselves, but they did
I
have...
feel like they did. I can't specifically remember, but I feel like they did try something like that.
Well, they had card games.
Yeah.
And, they even have some card games that made it for LRP versions. So like, we're going to actually play Three Dragon Ante in one of the sessions.
I think that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Where they tried to do a Three Dragon Ante version.
Right. And they did a game called Dragon Dice, and they did war game versions like Chainmail and the D&D 3rd edition miniatures.
Yeah.
Skirmish, and then they've got Onslaught, which is the 5th edition version of it.
Yeah. Yeah, D&D sessions, Hearth is mentioning that it's a luxury many people do not have. D&D sessions and the like then to be nomadic due to the chaos of scheduling and life in general.
Yeah, and that does make things hard to keep a group together. I've had groups for 6 or more years, but then suddenly they dry up.
Yes, scheduling is the number one hurdle for, I want to say, role-playing games.
Yeah. I actually lost a group to World of Warcraft.
I lost a group not to World of Warcraft, but to the original Final Fantasy, before World of Warcraft even came out. Yeah. The Dungeon Master was more interested in playing that than running City of the Spider Queen.
Yeah?
Yeah. I still want to finish City of the Spider Queen, and I'm making preparations for that, but that is besides the point.
So this is...
yeah,
these are some examples of hybrids.
There's a lot for it. There's a lot in here.
Yeah. I got to get back into Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh yeah, especially after the new patch drops. Yes.
Yeah. I'm really thinking that I'm going to go with Drunken Monk. I had a name for him too, but I forgot what it was going to be.
Jack Daniels.
No. It was something even punnier than that. I don't remember what it was, but it was something to do with being a troublesome person.
See, I just find it funny because, and this is, it's going back to comic books. Every version of U.S. Agent, which is the, effectively the more conservative Captain America, and the more militant Captain America, is named after alcohol.
Yeah.
So, what's his real name? John Walker, which is an alcohol.
Yeah. Johnny Walker, Jack Daniels walked into a room.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Norris took one look and they left.
I wouldn't be surprised if like they eventually come out with a sidekick for him, and his name is Bailey's.
Right?
Yeah.
There was a joke that person A said duck. Person B and C still walked into it.
Yeah.
No, person B and C walked into a bar.
The third one ducked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on to the other stuff we're going to be talking about soon is
We're going to have the traps and riddles.
traps and riddles.
Yeah.
This is kind of a hybrid because we're not rolling dice.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some times where you just have to look at it and say, I want the opinion of the people watching to tell me, would you be more interested in if we had to roll the dice and see if you failed because of luck, as opposed to because you thought you could balance on a pinhead?
Honestly, I feel like any time I've tried something absolutely nuts, you've been fair.
I think I try to be fair. Having a paladin not be able to do a Jacob's ladder in full plate.
Yeah. It's completely understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do want to know if there's things we can do to make it more exciting for the audience, despite throwing him off a real cliff.
Rule of cool and RNG of dice is what I want. Don't make me choose.
But now that you use an acronym, you know the rule.
Uh-huh.
You have to define RNG.
Random number generator, and I'm one of the people that falls in the camp of I cannot rely on RNG. I cannot rely on random number generators. I feel like the only person who has it worse than me is Hawk. I was there when Hawk rolled a natural 1 3 times in a row.
Oh no, it was 6.
Yeah. I'm not even going to question it. I know Hawk's luck. I know my luck as well. It's not that bad, but it's still bad. If I have to rely on dice rolls to succeed, I have to find ways to just weight it so much that like, okay, yeah, this is going to work. And even then, natural 1.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, in the worst case scenario, this is where Dungeon Master Caveat needs to.
Yeah, I've Hearth has the opposite problem where I had him rolling up stats and he rolled 3 18s naturally while I was watching.
So you should let him keep it.
Because how should I put this? The other stats were still pretty high.
So if you're going to make somebody roll and they get an exceptional character, they should have it. Because if you're going to also punish them saying, oh, well, you got at least one with a positive number on it, that should be enough.
So my argument there was that it would have been so one-sided that wouldn't have been fun for anyone else. And that's my philosophy on it. I don't mind having a powerful character, but having 3 18s where it doesn't feel like they have any weak points, that's like we've got 3 characters that are running around. We have Kim Possible, we have Velma from Scooby-Doo, and we have Gilgamesh.
Okay, that's a little out of the realm there, but
Yeah.
it can happen.
At this point, it's Gilgamesh, and these other 2 people who are going to feel alienated. Then they're not going to have fun.
There is something saying balance.
Yeah.
One of the ways I've seen people roll dice is they says, okay, everybody, you get to roll 1 die 6 for all your stats. But your base number is 12.
Okay.
So nobody's getting less than a 13.
13 to 18.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're above average in everything.
I don't like that. I like having a negative certain character for certain characters.
Well, it depends on the story you want.
Yeah.
Are you playing superheroes?
Honestly, even if I am playing superheroes, Yeah, you know, even if I'm playing superheroes, I want to have I don't want to be just pure power fantasy. I want complex superheroes.
I was trying to learn one of the RPGs that was a superhero RPG, and I had a guy who was no, I was the GM. So one of the guys did a mantis shrimp boxer,
Uh-huh.
and
I was trying to build that.
your turn.
I think that was me.
No, it wasn't you.
It wasn't me?
No, I'm pretty sure this was David,
Okay.
not Dan. But David did his mantis shrimp boxer, and the supervillain that was in the first example thing to fight was a martial artist. So we had a guy that could take down a building if he could hit it.
Yeah.
Couldn't hit her because she was a martial artist. And she could hit him all the time. Every single shot was a guaranteed hit. 0 damage. So it was like
Immovable object meets the you know,
irresistible force.
Irresistible force.
It was a complete and utter stalemate. And like, what am I supposed to do about this? You know, if the player could think to, well, I can't punch my way through this, what else can I do? Like, oh, instead of trying to punch her, I'm going to throw a net over her, or I'm going to punch the ground so she falls through the hole.
That's when, and for me, this is one of the reasons why role-playing games is so great, is sometimes it's good to put people in a position where they have to think laterally.
Yeah. I had a scenario when I was playing Pathfinder. This was still using 3.5 or 3.75 rules. And I had everything set up. The only thing I had to do was not roll a 1.
You rolled a 1, didn't you?
I did. And then that's when the dungeon master said, that makes no sense.
That makes no sense.
Yeah. You literally, if we just gave you a 1, you would have hit a 30 on your to hit.
And it's like the other day when we were, you know, in the game that you were running, I'm playing my necromancer, and there was a doppelganger, and between us beating the pulp out of them, putting them in a social situation, there was no win, and then me dropping, oh yeah, and now I'm going to intimidate plus thaumaturgy. He's like, no, don't even roll.
Yeah. Not necessary. We're not going to waste time. Well, we'll be back in approximately 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Where we will do our Dungeon Magazine number 80's Challenge of Champions for our Traps and Riddles section. And then we will do the unboxing of more traps.
We've got some more. See you in 12. Welcome back to the RPG Talk Show. My name is Daniel Ivey, and this is
John Wilker, Vice President of RPG Research. We're going to give you an example of role-playing in the fact that this is our traps and riddles section. I do want to point out that we did mention earlier that RPG Research Community Center is going away, but we still need donations to keep our programs going, our research going, and even the talk show going.
Yeah.
So rpgresearch.com/donate, and we can use any help you want. Now, what we are doing right now is the traps and riddles section, which is based some of the traps and riddles that I've written before myself. They're a little different,
yeah.
but for my ease, I am using the Challenge of Champions series that came from Dungeon Magazine. Challenge of Champions 3 by Jonathan M. Richards, artwork by Fred Rawls, cartography by Diesel. This is Dungeon Magazine's May/June 2000 issue number 80, volume 14, number 2. And this is scenario number 6. There are 10 scenarios in each one, and I believe there are 5 Challenge of Champions stories out there. So we'll get through 50 of these. All right, there's the map and some information there. We'll be showing that stuff off in a second. Here is a illustration from page 47 of what part of the room looks like. So I will let you look at that.
Okay.
Here's your map. And let's start the reading. Scenario takes place in a small laboratory. 3 tables are positioned against the walls. 2 of them hold 5 sealed glass aquariums, each filled with a different colored muck. Bright green, drab green, golden brown, golden orange, and milky white, suspended in a liquid growth medium. The 3rd table holds a notebook, a wooden spoon, a pencil, 5 ruin-covered cards, and a sheet of paper. Now, if you look at the bottom there, there's your 5 ruin-colored cards. Each one of those lines is a different card.
Yeah.
If you need a pencil, I've got one, or a pen and paper.
Yes, I would appreciate.
Okay, here's a pen. And a piece of paper.
I
You got paper. Okay, we're good to go.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're good. This time, your task is easy, states the proctor monitoring the scene, a guild priest named Carnival. That door over there is the exit. I think I've used this voice before, and I do apologize for that. You must go through it with 15 minutes for being locked. Whatever. No voices now. And use only the contents of this room. He locks the door through which you entered the room and then turns to you and says, begin.
Okay. So I need to get through the door with just the contents of this room.
Yep.
Okay. And you said that there are 5 jars?
Yes.
Okay.
2 on one table, 3 on another, as you can see in the illustration.
And what did the fluids look like?
The fluids look like... Stop doing that. Bright green.
Bright green.
Drab green.
Hold on. Bright green. Drab green.
Golden brown.
Golden brown.
Golden orange.
Golden orange.
And milky white.
Milky white. Okay. Now I have a wooden spoon.
Yes. As you can see in the illustration.
A sheet of paper.
Yes. Which you are writing on with your pencil.
A pen. What else do I have?
The 5 cards.
5 cards.
Which have these on the ruins, and you can
5 rune cards.
you can see them up there on the screen as well.
Okay. Okay. And that's all I have.
Well, you have the book.
And, oh, this book.
Yes, that's the notebook.
Okay, that's the notebook. Okay. Drab, green, bright green, golden brown, golden orange, and milky white. Okay. So, this is the second edition Monstrous Manual. I am trying to figure out what the connection is between these liquids and the monsters in this book. And then their runes. Which look litter-ish. Let's see here. Bright green. I'm trying to remember what I remember from this book. I'm feeling like it would be connected to an entire creature type. I feel like dragon would be too obvious. What's the name of this this challenge?
Media,
Media.
as in
Medium.
Yeah.
As in something.
MEDIA, media.
OBS, go home, you're drunk. Misfix.
Time is
Okay.
fixed.
Let me see about the oozes. In the meantime, the paladin's going to pick up one of the jars and figure out, like, you know, is there something sloshing around that are moving already? As in, is it sentient?
Well, they slosh when you move them. Nothing acts like it's looking at you or anything like that.
Okay. Puddings. Black, white, John, and brown. Black pudding, white pudding, brown pudding. I was thinking maybe puddings. What about oozes? Oozes. Oozes, slimes, and jellies. Oozes, slimes, and jellies. Okay. So, in the oozes, slimes, and jellies, there's an olive slime, a olive slime creature, a mustard jelly, a stun jelly, an ochre jelly, a gray ooze, crystal ooze, gelatinous cube, and green slime. The drab green could be, for example, the olive slime. The bright green could be the green slime. Golden brown could be the mustard jelly. Golden orange. Okay, stun jelly is designed image, and then the milky white could be. Is that a crystal ooze? That's a great ooze. Okay, so I have to get through the door. with whatever's in this room.
Yes.
Okay. So, this is what we're going to do. The rogue is going to go over to the jar with it that is milky white.
Okay.
Okay. And he's going to crack it open and then seal it to see if a smell comes out.
Okay. Hand me the book.
Something living was in there. You wouldn't have given me the monstrous manual if something living wasn't in there. Me overthinking things? Nah, it never happens.
Is this right now? Sing louder.
Do 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 do.
Tip me over, pour me out. Yeah, isn't that stupid? I should have this marked. Cause
Then it would have given it away for me.
I know. Isn't that terrible? Okay.
What happens?
Fibrous blobs of decomposing milk-colored matter. Fungi growing. All right. Excludes a tube and discharges alkaline fluid in a small globule.
Okay. It tries to attack one of us.
Well, remember, all die rolls succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's supposed to be a combat here, but let's just kill one of you.
Okay.
And because you have to have cure disease cast on you from the phycomid. How'd you like phycomids resemble fibrous blobs of decompressing milk-colored matter that kept fungus growing out of them, and they exclude a highly alkaline substance like lye when attacking. And it just threw this glob of lye, which infects you.
Mm-hmm.
The growths then spread throughout the host body, killing it and turning into a new phycomid. So, cure disease is cast on the rogue, and he is
Taken away.
taken away. Yep,
Okay.
he's dead.
Was a druid able to identify what that was?
I just told you, so yes.
So what was that?
It was a fungus called a phycomid.
May I see that?
There's no picture.
Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I thought I was dealing with slimes. Looks like I'm dealing with funguses. Phycomid. Okay. So, ordinary fungus, violet fungus, streaker, Phycomid, gas spore, basically just locked us in here with deadly stuff.
Some more deadly than others.
Yeah.
I will give you a extra minute because it took me too long to look up the monster so I can describe the attack.
Yeah.
Every other one, I could just tell you what it does.
Uh-huh. I chose the one that you didn't know what it was.
Yep.
Okay. And that was simply from crack, and it killed him.
Well, you know, the thing would attack, and
Yeah. Okay.
plus it speeds it up a hell of a lot more than I'm spending an hour going over whether or not you can just identify this without disturbing it.
Right. Okay. So which door? The druid is going to go over to the door that we're supposed to go through.
Okay.
And just out of dumb luck, I want to check to see if the door is even locked.
It is.
It's locked. Okay. Wooden door?
Yep.
Metal lock?
Yep.
Okay. Already down one. And I don't feel like I'm going to be able to identify the other 4 fast enough. So the paladin and the fighter are going to grab a jar each. Okay. The paladin is going to grab the bright green one, and the fighter is going to grab the golden brown one, and the druid is going to grab the golden orange one.
Okay.
And they are going to place the lid, you know, basically, like, say this is the door.
Yeah.
I'm going to place the lid right there, right?
Uh-huh.
And then on the count of 3, slide it off so that they immediately just, the lid falls off, and whatever's inside that jar is now attached to, you know, in contact with the door.
Okay.
On all 3 of those, the only one that I'm not doing that with is the milky white one and the drab green one.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
They're just basically holding it against the door.
just holding it against the door, somehow got the tops off, even though those are, well, no, those are pop-off lids.
Yeah, those are pop-off lids.
Okay, so nothing is happening of any interest to you guys.
Nothing's happening. Okay.
You did the bright green one,
The bright green one. Yeah. The golden brown one.
the golden brown,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
And the golden orange.
and the golden orange.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is a hard one because I'm not sure if you could accomplish this. Can you knock off the lids without releasing the contents? If it's, say, a mold.
Right. I'm kind of...
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to
Yeah.
do. Whether or not you could succeed, the answer is
So, well, you know, just for completion, because I'm figure at this point, I'm just going to, you know, everyone's going to die.
everybody did die. Okay, the bright green muck was green slime.
Uh-huh.
Anybody touching with something other than the wooden spoon is declared dead. Applying it to the lock would dissolve the lock.
Ah.
The drab green substance is olive slime. Anyone touching it is declared dead. The golden brown muck is russet mold. All PCs within 3 feet of the container when opened are declared dead.
Yeah.
The golden orange muck is yellow mold. All PCs in the room when the container is open is declared dead.
Mm-hmm.
The milky white substance is actually a phyconid. It attacks and the proctors cast cure disease as needed. Those requiring the spell are declared dead. The cyconids and the slimes are real thing. The molds are stimulated with some oatmeal and food dyes. The problem is that you had fungus, mold, and oozy slime / jellies. all in there, and you did not attempt to translate the code. The code now. This
I have no. I looked at it, and I had no idea of how to even begin translating it.
right, and this one I'm going to say was an unfair thing. I was hoping that you would guess slimes, molds, and stuff like that,
And I did.
which you did. And you looked up to the appropriate colors. The only problem is that you only looked up. You figured they're all 5 of the same type, as opposed to possibly being all 3 of the types.
Yeah.
But here's the worst part. Solution. The PCs examine the 5 cards and notice they each marked in code. The piece of paper shows the code system used, while the piece of paper and the thing. And guess what?
What?
I don't have the code system anywhere in this module.
Yeah, the mirror trick wouldn't have worked. I've PK Dragon. Yeah, I took a look at the code system, and it's not one where mirrors would have worked with it.
But I'm not sure. I guess what I should have done was tell you that there's a code, and then very slowly told you what each one of the things read. But I can't translate that code.
Yeah.
I look it upside down. I look at it sideways. It's not a mirror code.
So, would you be able to tell me, for example, what is the top one supposed to mean?
I don't know. The answers are green slime, olive slime, russet mold, yellow mold, and phycomid. I can't make any of those make that look like that to me.
Yeah, I can't. I can't.
But the only thing, if I gave you a translation guide and then gave you each of those stuff, you probably would have figured it out.
Yeah, because I know what green slime is. It's just a matter of me going in there and realizing, okay, which one of these will actually work on a lock? Because I was thinking, okay, which one is going to get through wood?
It's the lock that you have to get through, which
Yeah.
is so much easier than trying to dissolve the entire wall.
Right.
I'm not sure that this one should count as a failure or success because it was unfair.
Yeah.
The code, which you are supposed to use, doesn't have a translation guide.
Then there's no way.
And it doesn't give me instructions to tell you the answers.
Right.
Or even if those are the correct answers. But you're supposed to... 3 of the PCs decipher the coded names. The 4th PC looks up the descriptions of the creatures in the notebook as each name is called out. How is that supposed to have happened?
Yeah. It's not like, oh, the thief recognizes that the codes are in Thieves' Cant and is able to... No. I feel like it's only because I'm familiar with the monsters manual as a GM and having someone who's being someone who has labored over it, know that it's even in there. I immediately went to one of the groups that was included.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you narrowed it down to 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
But it was just... I don't know if... I blame myself a little bit this. I think I should have just said, well, if you had told me you were taking the time to translate them, I think that's when I would have actually given you the answers. Because there was no way for you to actually figure it out yourself. But you didn't take the time or tell me you were trying to translate it. So I think it
Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because in every single one of these other ones, what I needed to translate it was already presented to me.
Right.
I've never ever had to ask, what does this actually mean?
Right. And I agree with you because this is scenario 6. So this is the 16th scenario around, and every translation gave you the tools to make the translation.
By the way, let's use this as an example of why I'm not arguing about the rules. I'm arguing about rule consistency. There's a lack of internal consistency with this one.
There was a lack of internal consistency in the presentation.
Yeah.
The rules are the same, and that lack of internal consistency is wrong. When I was trying to write, and I'm a failed writer, not in the fact that I was a bad writer, I was a failed writer because I didn't finish writing. You know, if you don't finish the book, then you failed.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I was talking to the guy who's in charge of the whole thing as we're working on this project,
I'll
and
hand these back to you.
I was explaining to him that we don't have to follow particular rules when we're doing fairies or things like that. We just have to have internal consistency. If we say that all pixies wear brown pants,
Then all pixies wear brown pants.
and we have a pixie show up with green pants, we better have an explanation.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay to break the rule. If you say all pixies wear brown pants, there needs to be a reason that this guy is breaking the rules, and he's the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah.
He's from a different country.
He's colorblind.
Yeah,
He's colorblind.
he's slightly drunk constantly. I don't know. So that was that. And the next challenge will be worse or better. One of the two.
As long as it has consistency that I can actually work within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, scenarios number 7, it's called Evict. And that's all I can tell you.
Okay.
And we will have fun dealing with that.
Yeah.
But right now, it's time for unboxing.
Okay. This one?
Yes, that one.
Okay.
And as usual, hide the fact that I have personal information.
It's right there on the top. Opening it off screen because information's right over here.
Now, the reason I have this stuff shipped to my house instead of here is basically security.
Yeah.
I feel more comfortable coming to my house where I have somebody 24/7 watching for it than having it sitting for a couple days waiting for somebody to pick it up.
So it looks like we've got a couple of card boxes here.
Yep, they're all card boxes.
Yeah. Treacherous traps.
By the way, hi, Pocket Dragon. Glad to see you.
Okay.
Okay, now there is a link to this from Nord Games. And the really cool thing about this is they're having a sale right now on these card decks.
Okay.
Get 5, they give you $75 off, which pays for all 5. So basically you get all 5 cards for free.
Uh-huh.
You pay the $12 shipping and handling.
So. Okay.
They're $15 a piece. And you get them for shipping and handling, which is $12
Interesting.
for all of them. There's a whole bunch of different collections. Have you seen in some of my games, I have from Nord Games, the critical hit deck,
Yeah.
the critical hit deck for Dungeon Masters, the critical miss deck, and the good luck cards.
So basically the way that those work is, for example, when someone rolls a natural 20, I'm not used to this, so I don't have all that much experience with it. You would have them pull a card or roll critical hit damage, for example.
Well, what I do is they take normal damage,
Yeah.
and then,
Well, you do crunchy crits, right?
yeah, these crits are things like, oh, you do triple damage, and he has to make a saving throw, or he can't use his arm, or he's blind, or The arm is stuck to the wall
Right.
with an arrow. And it does, if it's slashing, bludgeoning, piercing, or magic, it does make a difference in the crit. The standard base rules for criticals is that you roll the damage twice.
Yeah.
That's it. Which is wonderful. You get that really super crit in there and you do 2 points of damage.
Which I've done before.
I think there's nothing worse than that.
Yeah.
So the critical hit
Well,
cards.
that's one of the reasons why you, as even without dealing with those cards, you do crunchy crits, which is you do maximum base damage and then you add the additional, you roll the additional damage. That way, there's a minimum damage and then you still get to roll the dice.
Yeah. And people like that. It feels much better to know that that crits mean something.
And will always mean something.
Yeah, as opposed to you did a wonderful 1 in 20 shot and your reward is less than standard damage.
Yeah. That is actually, I believe I was playing the pistol shrimp guy.
Oh,
That was me, because it was so difficult to even land a hit, and when I was finally able to do it, I finally connected, and
then you rolled real horrible on your damage.
yeah,
When you should have just killed her.
yeah,
One shot death. You've watched da 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 da.
oh yes. By the way, Dan, wonderful series, feels like a modern day Fooly Cooly.
Yeah, and the shrimp. Spoiler alert.
There is a alien that is based off of a pistol shrimp.
Yep.
Although they call it a mantis shrimp, the difference between a mantis shrimp and a pistol shrimp is a mantis has the hooks and they actually stab. Pistol shrimps punch.
And pistol shrimps literally hit so hard. They did this right in the show, that when it hits, there's a spark of light.
Yeah.
Because they literally hit so hard, light is produced by their impact.
Not even the impact. The light is being produced because they create a vacuum in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how powerful the real life pistol shrimps are, where they punch so fast that they produce pockets, vacuums of space within the
Water.
within the water. Yeah, they do actually break the speed. I believe they do break the speed, the sound barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're doing this thing, and I saw that, and I said, well, I want to get some cards. And I was going to get another set of the critical hit cards.
Yeah.
But like 1 or 2 of the cards in the set, if you're trying to get all of them, are sold out.
I'm sorry.
So instead, I thought, okay, which one of these ones do I want? Which one is the most useful for me? And I thought I would go with Treacherous Traps.
Because you don't need another. Because you need another way to torture us.
Right. Well, and there's, the sale is still going on. So technically, I can buy 5 more.
So I'm
For only
gonna crack,
$12.
I'm gonna crack the first one open. This is trap cards level 1 through 4.
Yep. And that's what the differences are of these. And all of them on the back thing says, you hear a click.
This talk show will self-destruct in 5, 4, 3.
It's a trap!
Would we? I don't think we self-destruct.
All right, what do we got here?
I think for us to be able to self-destruct, we have to be functional first. There we go. Let's crack this thing open.
Now, I haven't seen these. I know that they're trap cards, and they're supposed to be for 5th edition. Doesn't it say that on the front or the back?
It says 5e.
Yeah.
So unless it's 5e for something else, for example, I doubt this is going to be traps for Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition.
Especially since we're on 7th, aren't we?
I thought Vampire the Masquerade was on 5th edition.
Yeah, it might be. It could be 7th. I don't remember. But here's the fun part, is that there are other trap systems out there. Grimtooth traps are system agnostic. It just shows you the mechanics of the trap. It doesn't and how deadly it is in the number of skulls. If it breaks your leg, that's 1 skull. If it tears your leg off and forces it down your throat, that's 5.
I'm guessing 10 skulls is everyone's dead.
10 skulls is your campaign's over because everything's been destroyed. Because it only goes to 5. All right, what do we got here?
We have Aging Offering. This is the first one that I came across. Let's see here. There isn't any real artwork, with the exception of the same one that we had on the box.
Okay, so what we're saying here is that because it's a random draw, the back sides of the cards are all identical.
Yes.
And on the information side, there is no... there are some color codes. But no artwork for showing what the trap looks like.
By the way, thank you, Hearth, for verifying that Vampire the Masquerade VTM is on its 5th edition.
Yes.
So,
The beeping is our security system. Probably a cat.
Pick a card, any card.
Oh, no. Are you trying to reverse this on me?
Yes, I am.
But I'm the dungeon master.
And I'm a dungeon master as well.
But I'm the dungeon master. I got the hat.
I have the inherent threat in my voice.
You do not scare me.
Only because you don't know well. The time has passed for the bit to Okay.
15 minutes later.
Uprising Underfoot. This is a hybrid trap. Moderate harm. Sconces line this unlit corridor. A basket of torches is at one end of the corridor with enough for all of the sconces. A rune of detection is inscribed in the middle of the corridor. Trigger. Bring object. A creature that brings a lit torch 30 feet into the corridor triggers the trap. Effects. Spikes. When activated, spikes shoot up along the corridor. Each creature in the corridor must make a DC 12 dexterity saving throw or take 7 or 2d6 piercing damage on a failed save, half as much on a success. Countermeasures. On a successful DC 12 wisdom perception check, lets a creature spot the rune and the holes in the floor of the spikes. Although this check has disadvantage, the creature has no other source of light and cannot see in the dark. A creature can disable the rune with a successful Intelligence Arcana check or Dispel Magic.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's a low-level trap.
That's a low-level trap. Okay.
And it's one that invites you to, hey, I got torches. They're sconces. I should light them.
Maybe not. So, that was level 1 through 4, which would be, I believe, local tier?
Yeah. This is what stuff that happens in your own village and or city.
Of course, it's the last one that I grabbed. So let's see here. 17 to 20 is here. 9 to 12, 13 to 16, and then 12 to 9. So let's see what the next one up brings us.
Of course, there's two ways to use these things. One is as a random encounter, which I disagree with totally.
I feel like random encounters. I feel like random encounter tables should be distinctive for the adventure and area that you're in. It shouldn't be like generic, and it should do two things. One, it should give a tour of the area to kind of highlight, the scenery, and not just the scenery, but make you feel like you're actually in the area. And two, push the plot forward.
Right. I think the highlighting the scenery, you want different types of traps in your Oriental adventures than And yes, I'm referring to a specific book, not trying to use a culturally insensitive thing for Asian Asian role-playing games. But I would want one set in Japan to have different types of traps than one set in medieval Europe or in our favorite place right now, the Aztec temples.
Yes. Okay. Pick a card, any card.
Now we're much higher level. I'm 5 to what?
This is 5 to 8.
Shall I read it or just you want to read it?
You got a thing for light. Life-giving light. This is the magical trap. Perilous harm. 5 to 8. The floor of this dark cavern is uneven, and something crunches sickeningly beneath your feet as you enter. Trigger. Produce light or darkness. Bring or produce light, non-magical or magical, into the cavern triggers the trap.
I have dark vision. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing is you don't want everybody to have dark vision, but if you do have everybody with dark vision, there's ways to play with that too.
Oh yeah, there's a first level spell that that blocks it.
Well, not only that, but you can you got to remember, it's black and white and foggy everywhere.
Yeah. So effect: reanimate creature. The bones animate into 8 skeletons that attack all creatures in the cavern. The skeletons will not leave the cavern, and they stay active until reduced to 0 hit points, or until 24 hours pass, or until dispelled with a dispel magic. Actually, I believe we came across something like this in the temple that we're in right now.
Well, you came across zombies that did not detect as zombies until you activated the zombies.
Right. Countermeasures. Detecting the trap requires a successful DC 17 perception check, or detect magic, necromancy. Understanding it requires a DC 17 intelligence arcana check. Disabling the trap requires a successful DC 17 arcana check or dispel magic.
Okay, maybe in the encounter where we didn't. Now, you guys could have tried to do arcana checks to determine what the trap was, but the paladin figured out he thinks he knew what the trap was going to do, and decided the easiest way was to just go through it.
Yeah.
And set the trap off, because the paladin could stand in the middle of a room full of zombies and just destroy them.
Mm-hmm. And although I feel like it is wonderful when the characters are built in a particular way, but that is a very strict pigeonhole that he's put himself in.
Well, it's a they did a team build.
Yeah.
Where him and the other guy are supposed to work together in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he has pigeonholed himself as untouchable is kind of not a bad hole to be pigeoned in. Mm-hmm. The fact that the guy had his I play creatures that can go through walls and stuff as almost attack of opportunity proof.
Yeah.
And he had Sentinel, which is a Dungeons & Dragons feat that says, I don't care. I hit you before you try to go through the wall.
Yeah.
It's, you twitch towards the wall. Slam! And usually the only way to defeat my people that can go through walls is to ready actions.
Yeah.
And once you start doing that, they're not so hard to beat. But his job was like, no, my reaction immediately stops your movement.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is level 9 to 12. Let's see if you can pick something other than
A light-based spell?
yeah, light-based trap. Pick a card, any card.
Okay, let's go from right there.
Okay. And this is 9 to 12. We were in Masters of the Realms at this point. Enchanted Armory.
Woohoo! I love enchanted armory.
Magical trap. Deadly. Polished blades, enameled suits of armor, and decorated shields filled the racks that line the walls of this armory. A glyph of warding, blade barrier, is inscribed on the chamber's floor. Trigger. Creature detector. A good creature that approaches within 15 feet of the glyph triggers the trap. I don't know how you feel about traps detecting alignment.
Well, you know, it used to be a normal thing. First through third edition.
Cared about that. Yeah.
I don't know if fourth edition cared about alignment.
I don't think they did. I mean, they basically reduced alignment down to lawful good, chaotic evil, neutral, and unaligned.
I didn't pay too much attention.
Yeah.
But, yeah, alignment used to matter. And they even had, and I'm going to admit, I'm a big fan of first and second edition, but alignment languages were stupid.
Yeah.
The fact that, I started off as an evil character, and then I got redemption, I became a good character, or I got a curse that reversed my alignment.
And your languages change based off of that, and you lose languages. That didn't make much sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I do like certain languages being inherently evil. So from third edition, there was the Black Tongue.
Sure. Look at the Black Tongue or the Black language for Lord of the Rings.
Right. To speak the language was to be evil. Which is different from I'm evil, so I speak this language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking the language was an act of evil.
Yeah.
As opposed to anything else. But, you know, like, I'm a bad person, so I get a language that is just inherently pushed into my skull. My sister's good, so she speaks a different language.
Yeah. I feel like the black language isn't like, there's something inherently, it'd be like speaking in nothing but spoilers to people's favorite shows. Like, that's just wrong. Anyway, when activated, the glyph casts Blade Barrier. See the spell description for more information. Countermeasures. A successful DC 20 Intelligence Arcana check. A creature can sense a lingering trace of magic on the armor and weapons around the room. The glyph can be found with a successful DC 20 Intelligence Investigation check or detect magic. Once found, it can be disabled with a successful DC 20 Intelligence Arcana check or with Dispel Magic.
Yeah, that trap really depends on the area, because Blade Barrier only covers a 5-foot area.
I also feel like, because I've played with people like this, where it's like, they'll trigger the trap, and now they'll loot the room because you just described a whole bunch of effectively magical items. They'll go through the trap just to make sure they have it. And if you haven't budgeted for having that type of magic item, then...
Well, it's worse, I think, is because this trap, even though it doesn't talk about it, is so dependent upon the architecture and the layout of the room.
Yeah.
In order to make it effective. I don't have too much of a problem with an alignment check, because that was something we used to play with.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I'm not sure. So, if I'm creating a dungeon and I want a trap to keep people from stealing my magic items, do I really want one that just keeps the good guys out? Or do I want to keep the bad guys out who's going to steal my stuff?
Honestly, that sounds like a very, very naive villain.
Yeah.
If they don't realize that the people that they have aligned themselves with are more likely to betray them. No, it's like, are you alive? Traps being triggered.
Yeah. Or better yet, if you're not carrying a certain password,
right,
or even a racial trigger. They like say only Sahagin are allowed in this room.
You know what I would completely understand? The trap triggers for any non-dwarf.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though it's quote unquote racist, it's a racist trap. It makes sense in the story.
Well, I mean, dwarves have a history of being a bit xenophobic at times. Honestly, elves too.
Yeah. But so an alignment test in this kind of scenario, I think they're targeting the wrong alignment.
Yeah.
Because thieves are notoriously lawful good.
See, it'd make more sense if it triggered on any chaotic character. Because lawful characters could be trusted to not to follow the law. Pick a card, any card.
The other card.
The other card?
Let's see here.
Okay.
That's
So
what always
we're in tier 4?
levels 13 through 16, and this is
Right.
definitely not a light spell.
Yeah. Generosity, magical trap. Dappled light filters through an enormous sealed tank of water that takes up the half of the empty room. A statue stands outside the tank with an outstretched hand, and a matching statue, but with a clenched fist is inside the tank. Trigger, offering. If a creature walks past the open-handed statue without placing a gold coin in it, they trigger the trap.
Had a trap that not only did you have to put coins in there, you had to put the correct number. So yes, you had to figure out what to put a coin there, but you had to do it. So what's the horrible thing that's going to happen to me?
Effect, swap. The triggering creature must succeed on a DC 15 charisma saving throw. Ooh, that's a nasty one. Or switch places with the statue inside the glass tank. AC 15, 100 hit points, immunity to slashing poison or psychic damage, and vulnerability to piercing and bludgeoning. Giving a coin to the other statue swaps the creature again, but dispelling or disrupting the enchantment doesn't. Countermeasures. Detection requires a successful DC 15 religion check. Or detect magic conjuration. Disable with a successful DC spellcasting ability check or dispel magic DC 16.
That sounds similar
like that
to one of my traps.
Reminds me of a certain sewer drain
Yeah.
with a spherical, a gelatinous cylinder.
Yeah. It wasn't fair, but it was cube.
Okay, last one. We have 17 to 20, so your epic levels. Come on, we're...
Your heroic levels. This is where you are dealing with things of international, actually planar level threats, end of the world things.
Yeah.
When we started our campaign, they started with the haunted house.
The dead house?
No,
No?
we're talking the one you're in right now.
Yeah.
It was the Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh.
Yeah.
And you start with the haunted house, and then you work
Not
out.
that haunted.
Then you work your way up to things that affect an entire city, and eventually you're going to be getting. We're only at 5th and 6th level right now. You know, things that we're still just exploring dungeons and traveling as opposed to world-shaking events.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
Okay. Last but not least, and then we'll wrap it up for the day. But, might as well see what the last trap you'll be dealing with today is.
Oh no, I'm dead! Again. They killed Kenny!
You bastards! Okay. sweet sounding stench. Interesting.
I have a very bad sense of smell, but does smell sound like anything?
I don't know. Okay. The chamber is filled with musical instruments such as lutes, flutes, and drums, all slightly used. On the far side of the chamber is a door with a frame of wood bearing carvings of clouds and wind. Trigger. Musical auditory. If no woodwind is being played in the room when a creature walks through, the carved door, the trigger is if no woodwind is being played in the room when a creature walks through the carved door, the trap triggers.
Better bring a bard.
They don't have to be playing it well.
Yeah. But still, better bring a bard.
Effect, Acid Slime Blast. The triggering creature must succeed on a DC 17 Constitution saving throw or be poisoned for 10 minutes by a spray of slime. While poisoned, the creature must succeed on a saving throw at the start of each of its turns or be incapacitated for 1 round. Dousing the creature with a gallon of oil or alcohol removes the slime. Not even water. Countermeasures. Detecting the trap requires a successful DC 17 Intelligence, Arcana, or Performance check, or Detect Magic Abjuration. Disabling it requires a successful DC Spellcasting Ability check, or Dispel Magic DC 17.
So what was the DC on the performance?
17.
You said you didn't have to play good?
Hold on. Requires detecting the trap. Is just a DC 17 performance check.
That's an interesting concept of doing a performance check to detect the trap.
Yeah, well, that's
Someone being, for example, familiar with music doesn't necessarily mean they're playing it.
Okay, but here's the question for you. You're the dungeon master.
Yeah.
First of all, how do you drop a hint enough that I'm going to use music to find a trap? Because that is a completely unusual and unprecedented.
I would say that, for example, a bard walks into that room. Larry, the bard. Is your performance check higher or your Arcana check? Which one's higher? Performance. Make me a performance check. Roll, succeed. So yeah, as right before you walk through the threshold of this room, you kind of see, the instruments, and the painting, and it kind of reminds you of this really, really, it's a bit of an obscure performance, of a artist. It was his last piece.
Weird Al Spitivink.
Yeah, and it makes you think that what was noteworthy about that performance was it was his last performance because he was killed for it. The critics said that he wasn't playing any wood instruments, so they doused him in acid.
Now that's a harsh critic.
That's a harsh critic. And that's based off of the performance check. That is well within what I feel would come up on a performance check.
As opposed to a history check.
Right.
Okay.
Because it's specific to the performance.
Well, the historical elements of the performance, but I get what you're coming up with.
Yeah.
All right.
So, that is our traps. Well, that is the unboxings. I think these are some interesting traps. Some of them are more useful than others depending on the area that you're in.
Okay.
All of them I think are interesting. Next week, we still need to figure out what we're going to be talking about.
Right.
Hopefully not something as depressing as the update.
The restructuring of
RPG research.
RPG research. But it's we should not think of it as depressing. We think it is as a fresh restart.
Yeah.
A chance to get the albatross off our shoulders so we can continue moving forward
Yeah.
This caused us to grind almost to a complete halt, and now we can reboot as we need to.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's going to be a lot of shaking up in the next couple of months as we, refine our way. Yeah.
if I don't receive a Kickstarter object between now and the 19th, is that the next day we're working? Is the 16th, I think?
16th.
16th. Yeah, if I don't get a Kickstarter mailed to me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out.
Well, we still have those two over there.
We still have those two over there.
They're yet to be unboxed.
I am not sure which one I want to do more. That or bring out Arkham Horror.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out. So hopefully by next week we'll figure out what we're going to be talking about.
Hey, maybe we can talk about holidays.
I know that we were talking about holidays earlier, but yeah, we'll tackle that.
What I mean by holidays is in-world holidays.
Ooh. I do have that spreadsheet that has the holidays for the campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some things, holidays one day. Some worlds holidays are a week long a piece.
Some people, some days the holiday happens every week.
Yeah. And holidays are a way to introduce culture and it's a way to introduce extra role playing. So we may do that.
Yeah.
Have a session coming up between. You want to do holidays next week?
I think.
Or do you think you need extra time?
I want to talk about hybridization. Give me at least 2 weeks to deal with holidays, and I think that'll be close enough to Christmas where it'd be appropriate or more appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have our main topics. Next week is going to be hybridization. We're talking about blending genres, blending game styles together.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this is an example where this is a card game, combining the card game with your TRPG.
Well, that's a tool to help
That's
you
a
with your
tool,
TRPG. But like, one of the hybridizations is Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen Deluxe Edition. Not only includes the campaign for the Dragonlance modules, but it includes a board game so you can do the full-scale war.
Mass combat.
Yeah, and that's a hybridization right there.
Yeah.
Hybridization also can mean genre, hopefully bending concepts where you are, cowboys and aliens is one way to do it. Can I do a romance horror?
Yeah. You can.
Without sparkling vampires?
you could do Warm Bodies.
Yeah, Warm Bodies.
Warm Bodies was that was a triple. That was romance, horror, and Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And Shakespeare.
All right, everybody, we've gone over our time.
Yeah.
Because we love you so much, we can't stop talking to you. But what do we say?
Well, we will see you in a week. Have a good night.
And dream well.